Hey, this is Antonio. Welcome back to my channel, and we're gonna have some fighting words. Before we go any further, please like and subscribe to this video. I wanted to talk about Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia recently took a little hiatus. He said he was going through some mental issues and he needed basically some breathing room. He needed to get himself together on the inside before he can continue on the outside, which there's nothing wrong with that. So over the weekend, Tank Davis had his fight against Mario Barrios, in which case he won with an 11th round TKO. And guess who wants back in the limelight? It's Ryan Garcia. And he says, and I quote, "The only fight I want is the Tank fight." That's the only fight that he wants. Do I think that Ryan Garcia is ready for Tank? Do you think Ryan Garcia is ready for Tank? No, I do not think Ryan Garcia is ready for Tank. His promoter, Oscar De La Hoya, has said several times that Ryan Garcia is not ready for Tank. I understand that Ryan Garcia has been working in the Reynoso gym with Canelo, but it'll be a while before he gets seasoned like that, and he's going to need some of those Canelo-like slick skills to handle a Tank Davis. You are not ready for that. You are not ready for that. I would say you fight a Devin Haney, build yourself up, because Devin will be in your face the way Tank will be in your face. However, you don't have as much danger because Devin doesn't hit as hard as Tank. However, it is still dangerous because Devin beat Ryan Garcia twice in the amateurs. So, I mean, it's a dangerous fight, and he could definitely lose his O if he were to go up against a Devin Haney. But Devin Haney is kind of, I'm not going to say he's that dude right now, but he's definitely riding high. He beat Linares, and that was not an easy fight, but he won. But for Ryan Garcia to say that he wants Tank, I get it, you want to ride the wave. I get it, Tank just had an amazing showing. I get it, Tank pretty much sold out an arena in Atlanta of all places, which is not considered a fight town or a fight city or anything like that. Yet he sold it out. He's also on the verge of being like our next pay-per-view star. But for you to sit there and say that you want some of that, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, are you even gonna commit to this fight? You know, like you backed out of another fight, and that guy didn't present half of the dangers that Tank Davis is going to present to you. So, and I also wonder if this was advised for him, or is he just kind of talking? Like the last time when he said he wanted to fight Manny Pacquiao, and his promotion was like, well, he's kind of just talking, and we don't think that's a good move for him. You know, and that went nowhere. I don't know if that's just Ryan Garcia fishing. I don't know if that's Ryan Garcia hoping, or Ryan Garcia just really just talking, you know, or maybe just trying to get himself back in the mix because he didn't do his fight because of his mental issues, and then Tank went along and did his fight. Well, Devin had his fight, then Tank had his fight, and also Shakur Stevenson had a fight, and a lot of these guys at 130, 135 pounds are having big bouts, and maybe he feels a little left out, like, hey, remember me? I'm over here. I'm Ryan Garcia. You are, but you stepped away for a moment. And I get it. You want to get back in the limelight, but I think you need to take some baby steps. I don't think fighting Tank Davis is what you need right now. I don't think that's what you need. I think Ryan Garcia has the perfect style for a Tank Davis. I mean, and I don't mean that in a good way. I mean, he does all the things that would make Tank successful. One thing that, and I know he can't fix in the next year, he stands up too straight and he just leans back. I know, and he's a counterpuncher pretty much, and he just sits there and he just hooks off. That's not going to work against Tank. Number one, Tank has actually really great defense. That's not going to work against Tank. Number two, Tank can take a punch. So that's not going to work against Tank. Number three, like, you're just totally exposed. You are totally exposed. You're too flat-footed. You don't fight well going back, and you're going to have to, because Tank is not going to allow you to stand your ground. He's not going to do that. He will not respect you, especially at 130 or 135 pounds, whatever one they fight at. Either way, Tank will not respect you. He doesn't respect anybody at 130. 135, he doesn't really show that much respect. But if you fight at 130, he's not going to respect you at all. You will have to fight going backwards, whether you like it or not. Yeah, you have knockout power, and it's shown that you can put people down, but you are definitely going to have to fight going back. And that's not something that you can learn in the next 6 months. I don't think it's something that he can learn in the next year. Nonetheless, the next 6 months, unless he just drilled solely for Tank. If he says, let's just say that the fight were to get made, and I don't know, Oscar De La Hoya said, all right, we got the Tank fight. We have it in 2022 in May. If you were to just drill going backwards until that time, maybe, and thought about nothing else but Tank day in and day out, and all your drills and all of your preparation were based on a backward moving fight, and that'd be one thing, which I don't think, again, I don't even think if you did that, honestly. I just don't think you're good enough for Tank. I really don't. Like, I'm really trying to be nice or be generous to him, but I just don't think he's good enough for Tank. I don't. Power for power. Listen, I think if he were to catch Tank with a clean shot, I honestly believe Ryan Garcia could actually put Tank down. The question is, could he keep Tank down? My second question to that is, Tank is a dog. And I don't just mean like, he'll get down. But I mean like he's one of those people, like sometimes a fighter has to wake up. If you hit him hard, you'll wake him up. And who am I thinking of that does that? Earl Spence is kind of like that. Like Earl will do his thing, but the minute you hit him hard, he turns into something else. Actually, great example. Flyod Mayweather versus Shane Mosley. Like, Floyd came out his regular self, Shane hit him. Once Shane hit him, something happened in Floyd's head. He doesn't get the credit for being a dog because he doesn't have to be a dog because he's such a great boxer. Floyd is a dog. Floyd, if you hit him, let me say it like this. If you embarrass Floyd, like he does not like to be embarrassed. He likes perfection in every way, sense of the form. Like he just likes perfection. But if you hit him, you hurt him, it's just like something else comes out of him. Honestly, it's funny because we call him Manny Mayweather now. However, when he gets hit, he'll turn into a pretty boy Floyd Mayweather, and that's what he will turn into. So when I hear Ryan Garcia saying that, he wants a Tank fight, I think that to me is saying that at an early age, he wants a career-defining fight. But I don't know. I don't know if that's a good idea for you. I think that's very ill-advised. I wonder if he actually sought the counsel of his promotion. Say what you want about Oscar De La Hoya or his business practices, but one thing he does know is boxing. He's been doing it since he was a toddler. He understands the sport of boxing, and he knows fighting. And he would be a great person to ask for counsel. Should I take this fight? Should I even call for this fight? And again, Oscar has said several times, Ryan Garcia is not ready for Gervonta Tank Davis. And there's no shame in that. We grow. We grow in skill. We grow in maturity. And there's a growth period when fighters are young. There's a growth period. And there is a sense of protecting young fighters, giving them the right fights. It's not that they're scared or anything else. It's just that you don't want to rush them into something. And that's all it is. I think rushing Ryan Garcia into a Tank fight now isn't great for Ryan Garcia. It's great for Tank because Tank's going to make a lot of money and he's going to get Ryan's name on his belt. But I don't think in the bigger picture, I don't think it's that good. Because if you think about it, that fight will grow to be something much, much bigger in the next maybe 2 to 3 years. That fight will grow to be something much, much bigger. They'll be much more established as fighters, as fighting names globally. You know, like their stock is only going to rise, especially if they stay on the winning streaks that they have been, and especially if they've been fit, if they continue to finish opponents the way they have been. But if you rush them into these fights too early, I appreciate it just as a consumer of the fights. I appreciate it, but sometimes you have to look at what's best for the fighter, and that's not best for his career right now. He still needs to, and I say this with all due respect, he still needs to be spoon-fed fights. You know, and a lot of these guys do. So it's not a knock on him. Everybody starts off like that. Nobody starts off with the toughest of the tough. Like, I mean, well, not, for the most part, nobody starts off with the toughest of the tough. You mature into those fights. You don't just start off there, because that's suicide. You know, so that's my take on that. I mean, on top of that, just tactically, it's just a bad fight for Ryan Garcia. He stands up straight. He doesn't know how to fight backing up. He's very flat-footed. His feet are too wide in between, and he puts way too much pressure on the back foot. So if Tank were to press him, he has nowhere else to go because he has too much pressure on the back foot. You know, so it's just not a... He would literally have to change his stance, and they would have to work on his stance. Like, work on his footwork for a good time. Like... Maybe a year before I say he's ready to entertain a possible matchup with Gervonta Tank Davis. He does not fight well in the pocket. You know, he does this little swiping thing, but that's about it. He doesn't do well in the pocket. He's not a firefight type of guy. You know, he's more of a sniper. Tank could snipe you, but because of his height and his reach, he would prefer to be in a firefight. He would prefer to be up close and personal. And Ryan's not ready for that. And like I said, there's no slight on him or his skill. But personally, I just don't think he's ready for that. And like I said, financially, I think that fight 2 to 3 years from now is much bigger, and they make a lot more out of it. That's the difference between a possible $10 million fight and a possible $50 million fight. That's the difference. That is the difference. So I know you're in a rush, and I know he's the guy right now. Contrary to what a lot of people think, who's the guy in the smaller weight classes, it's Gervonta Tank Davis. If he can sell out an arena in Atlanta, it's Gervonta Tank Davis. I mean, Atlanta's not a fight town, and he's selling out an arena in Atlanta. So yeah, there you go. But I want to hear from you. You tell me what you think down below. And as always, please like and subscribe.